Your muscles didn't just stop growing. The system encountered a failure mode. Let's analyze it. I'm a mechanical engineering student who has been training for over 4.5 years. I went from a 120-pound skinny fat nerd to a 160-pound still a nerd, but I'm more jacked. The reason I said I was a mechanical engineering student is because I have been taught to create and analyze systems. In today's video, I'm going to analyze a likely reason as to why you're not growing: failure modes. As a mechanical engineering student, we take a material science class where we learn all about materials. Don't worry, I'm not going to get super nerdy on you. I'm going to keep it relatively very simple, and I'm going to tie it back into bodybuilding. Failure modes is a big part of the class. There's like 2 to 3 chapters over it. We learn how a system slash just a single material fail and what caused it. I was looking at my notes the other day and I realized that this failure modes topic can be applied to bodybuilding, and it makes it a lot easier to understand certain topics in bodybuilding. Failure modes can range from being as obvious as an object just snapping in half, and they can also be as subtle as the system just appearing to just magically fail randomly. The first type of failure mode: fractures. This is probably one of the most common, and if you think of an object failing, you're gonna think of fractures. And you've seen fractures. If you've ever walked into a room and there's just like cracks and stuff on the ceiling, cracks on the wall, that's a type of fracture. The material itself is weakened in that spot. It has a defect in that area, which caused a ripple of the material failing, causing a fracture line throughout the whole wall and just spreading. The biggest cause of this is what I kind of just said a second ago, is the material itself being defective. Like, let's say there's a certain spot, that spot is very porous on the wall, or maybe even on the microscopic level, it's like defective on that part of the wall. But the biggest cause of fractures is stress concentrators. So again, if you walk into a room, you notice cracks on the wall, more than likely they're going to be towards corners. Sharp corners are known to be stress concentrators. Now, bringing this back to bodybuilding, stress concentrators in lifting can be workouts that are just more dangerous to perform than the others, such as deadlifts. Deadlifts are innately just more dangerous than any other movement. Hence the name deadlift, because you're more likely to injure yourself on a deadlift. Whenever a lifter strains his back, more than likely it's going to be deadlifts, because it is a stress concentrator of an exercise. And the fix to this is to not do these stress concentrator types of exercises, specifically when you're super stressed out. Like, if you're just in a time period of your life, there's a lot of exams, I don't know, your girlfriend broke up with you, so now whatever, and you're just super stressed out, doing things like deadlifts is not a smart thing to do, because when you're super stressed, you're just more likely to do stupider things. That's just how it is. So if you just load up extra weight on the deadlifts, you're more likely to strain your back, causing a fracture failure mode to just occur, which is not something you want to happen. And the second type of failure mode is fatigue. In engineering terms, fatigue is failure from dynamic and fluctuating stresses. It's also known as cycle failure. So a common example that you could probably understand is an old car. Let's say an old car that's been driven a lot, like it's at 300,000 miles, and it's going great. Like, it's a reliable car. It's a Honda. It's going really good. But randomly at like mile 300,020, it just fails. Like, something just stops working and it just fails. That's likely due to fatigue, because the number of cycles it has ran for 320,000 miles, the number of cycles is catching up to the materials inside, causing a fatigue failure. The causes of fatigue failure are literally time and number of cycles. So if you, in material science, whenever they test fatigue failure in an object, they typically put it on something, they do a bunch of stress all over it for millions of times, millions of cycles, but they do it in a very short period of time. So if I touch this bottle over and over, millions of times, but I do it over, like, I don't know, 40 years, the bottle's not going to fail. The bottle's likely not going to fail due to fatigue failure from me doing this. But if I do it millions of times over like a day in the same exact spot over and over again, this bottle will experience fatigue failure. What this looks like in lifting is having no rest days. If you do not rest, you will not recover. You don't recover, you are going to cause fatigue failure. Fatigue builds up on our body, especially systemic fatigue. If you've ever been super tired after like squats, for example, that's because squats builds a lot of systemic fatigue in your body. Whereas something like biceps, something that's very small, something that's working a very small muscle, doesn't build a ton of systemic fatigue, but it does build a ton of local fatigue, which just feels nice because it's biceps. Another way to experience fatigue failure in the gym is with high volume. Now, I'm not like, okay, personally, I don't like high volume that much. I think lower volume is better, but that's not why I'm that's not why I'm saying this. Think of this simple scenario, for example. There's two versions of me. The first version of me does 3 sets of 12 on bicep curls, so 36 reps. The other version of me, the second version of me, does 4 sets of 12 on bicep curls, the same exact exercise. So he does 48 reps. Over time, who do you think is going to experience fatigue failure faster? The one who's doing 36 reps or the one who's doing 48 reps? The one who's doing 48 reps, because he's literally doing more cycles in the time. The cause of fatigue failure is time and number of cycles. The more volume you do of a certain exercise, the more likely you're going to build fatigue stress and cause fatigue failure. The best way to avoid fatigue failure in the gym is to properly recover. Listen to your body. Sometimes you will get into a season of your bodybuilding journey where you're just super tired, like constantly. That is your body's way of telling you, hey, we need to focus on recovery right now. You are kind of pushing the limits, and I don't like it. Please recover so we don't experience fatigue failure. Listen to your body, recover. Recovery is adaptation. Recovery is part of the holy trinity of lifting. Without recovery, you will not make any gains. If you found this information helpful, let me know by dropping a comment below. And if you found it really helpful, schedule a one-on-one coaching call with me with the top link in the description. The next 10 people to sign up will receive a discounted price. I will give you more really good information just like this. You know what to do. Get up and get after it.